Hello, everyone. It's Sue Erda here, your host for this amazing summit, the Purpose Summit. As always, I am so grateful to be here with you. I love the opportunity that I get to speak with all of these amazing authors and have you get to know them. And that's what this is for you to get to know these authors, for you to be inspired really by their own journeys of purpose and how they got to live on purpose and the things they've learned throughout their lives. They have great messages and inspirations. So I know that that's what you're here for. You, if you're listening, you are on your own journey of purpose. And so I love that you're here. And so let's start talking to these authors. So first we'll talk today with Amber Taylor, who is one of the co-authors in the upcoming book, Women Living on Purpose. And I'm going to read a brief introduction and then we'll hear from Amber. Amber Taylor is a double certified life coach with the mission to create space for Black women to share, commune, and grow. She teaches them to drop the expectations of others so they can live in the freedom of their authentic selves. She believes empowering Black women to center their pleasure and joy is the revolution that will change the world for the better. She left corporate America as a program manager for Microsoft, burnt out and searching for purpose to step into a life of service for others. She is strength, resilience, compassion, and love as she uses her own personal experiences to be an example of what's possible for others. And Amber, I am so excited to talk to you today. I got chills reading your introduction because you're such a powerful woman. And I know that about you. I'm so excited to talk to you. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Very happy to be here.
Great, great. And I love the title that you chose for your interview today, Finding Calm in the Chaos Through Strength, Resilience, and Pleasure. And I love that because I don't, when I think of chaos, pleasure is like the last thing on my mind. So I'm excited to hear how you're going to bring that in for us. So, to get started for our listeners, will you tell us a little bit about your personal journey and how it got to where you are today?
Yeah, I actually just love what you just said. Like, pleasure is usually the last thing on people's minds, and I am now on a mission to kind of get that to people to the top of people's minds. And I think we'll go over that in the interview. But kind of where I got here today, or how I got here today, is I've always been um, a high achiever, someone who goes the extra mile, and that has always been a part of my personality, but also something that has burnt me out and drained me and got me thinking that I have to be perfect in order to be good enough, which um, isn't helpful. And like as I went through my time through school and then I started my career, and I was always, breaking those milestones. Doing the things that people expected of me, doing the things that I thought I expected of myself. And, finally I ended up at Microsoft. I moved up through the ranks, was getting promotion, made it to headquarters, all of these things. And I was living into my dream job. And then I realized it wasn't my dream.
Mhm.
And kind of going through that realization, that understanding, and breaking it down of what I wanted and really figuring that out, and how to get it and not feel bad about it. And
Mhm.
then how to figure out what my purpose was and then step into it. So that is kind of a nutshell, shortened version of how I found life coaching, because really through therapy and coaching is where I found my own voice, my own strength. And now I'm on a mission to help other women do that as well.
Yeah, I love that. And that's often how people come to their purpose through their own struggles or challenges or things that they've gone through. And it's kind of this metamorphosis that takes place. So I love that you're doing that. And so you are a double certified life coach, which is
Yes.
great. And so let's talk about coaching a little bit. Are there any misconceptions or myths that people have about coaches?
Yeah, coaches, some people think that coaches are just going to be your yes people. Like, oh, yeah, do that. Oh, yeah, it makes you feel good. Oh, yeah, like whatever you want, I'm here for you. And it's like, no, like coaches are like definitely going to be your cheerleader in some areas, but we're also going to call you on your shit. Like, we're not going to let you run yourself in the ground. We're not going to let you lie to yourself. We're not going to let you lie to us. So, a coach is really, more of like an accountability partner, a trainer. Like, I always think back, like I used to play basketball for probably the majority of my life, and the best coaches, my favorite coaches, were the ones that put their foot in my ass and, like, the ones that, like, helped me get better, who saw my potential and helped me reach it, and that's what we do as coaches.
Yeah.
Um, and then maybe, like, another misconception is that we try to flip everything to get you to see the positive side, which is not the case. We know that life is full of hills and valleys, ups and downs. Like, especially me in my experience, like, everything is not positive, and we don't want to force people to make it positive. We just want people to understand how they do have power in every situation, and a lot of their power comes from what they decide to think about it.
Yeah, it's amazing. One of my favorite tools as a coach and being, working with coaches is questions. Like questions are like the biggest thing, right? I mean, I think that's another thing. Like coaches don't tell you what to do, they help you figure out what to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So, I know that, we've lived a lot of life, right? There's a lot of stuff that's happened in life. So, what would you say is something, a number one principle maybe that has had a really profound impact on your life that you'd like to share with other people so they can use that too?
Yeah, it was when I initially found coaching, a friend put me onto a podcast. It's Brooke Casillo's The Life Coach School, and actually the subsequent school I went to for my first training. But basically, in a nutshell, she said, your thoughts cause your feelings, not the circumstance. And your thoughts create your results in every way. And she has a method called the model, which really proves this in every scenario. And once I started understanding that, seeing that, and applying it to my life, it was dramatically life changing. Like as I said, like it helped me find my own power within the midst of chaos. It helped me find where I had control. It helped me get peace, and it helped me really center what I wanted outside of everybody else.
Wow. So, your thoughts are really what's driving everything. So, here's the thing, we're all thinking every single minute of every single day, right?
Mhm.
And people will say, well, I know what my thoughts are, but is that true? Do you think people are aware of what their thoughts are all the time?
No, definitely not. As humans, we have over 60,000 thoughts that run across our minds every day, and most of them are subconscious or unconscious thoughts. We don't always know the story that plays in our head, especially based on our environment growing up, the messages that we receive from society. And if we don't have that voice in our head telling us, you know, this is not true, or this is true. Like I think of um, body image and how a lot of women don't like their bodies because of what they see on social media or in the magazines, or that models are this big, and really like less than 1% of the world's population naturally has a model's body type. But that has become the aspiration just because of what other people continuously put on a pedestal. And it gets regular people to think, I'm not good enough, and kind of like that thought or thoughts like it can run in your head. And unless you're really aware of that, those thoughts can really bring you down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate so much what you just said because it's true. We have this thing, like there's this commentary running all the time in the background from either people that we know or the media or magazines and all that stuff and social media that says this is the way you got to be. So,
Mhm.
so knowing that though, then how can we be authentic? I know you're very passionate about, helping people live into their own authenticity. So how do we do that? How do we separate that from ourselves and really be our authentic selves? And how do we know what our authentic self is?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily separating ourselves completely, because we can't, remove ourselves from society totally. Like we'll always have um, those thoughts running in our head. But really, for me, the difference is understanding that you have a choice, and really finding your authenticity is asking yourself what you want, asking yourself what you would choose, asking yourself if you believe these things and if you want to continue to believe them. And as you take that journey, filtering like, oh, don't want to be a size 2. I actually don't think that's good for me. Or I don't want to go to corporate America because of XYZ. Or I do want kids, but I don't want them in the traditional way. Um, and all of those things of just really deciding what makes sense for you after, like you said, a series of questions, getting used to yourself, getting true to yourself, getting used to the answers that you give, and really getting comfortable with those.
Yeah, that's great. Can you give our listeners a couple of questions maybe to tap into their authentic self? Like, how do they know, hey, this is really my voice in my head speaking, not somebody else's? Like, how do they know? What are questions you would ask some of your clients?
hmm Why is this important to me?
Why?
Yeah. Why does it matter? If I achieve this or if I got this, how do I think I would get to feel? And how can I feel that way now? Is this something that I want? Or is this something that I think will make other people happy?
Mm,
And kind of just like going along those questions and just really connecting back to self and making sure, like, is this really important to me and why? And then after you ask those questions, writing them down, journaling them out, talking them out. However, ask yourself if you like your reasons. And if you do, go for it. And if you don't, check in on what's wrong and see how you can get to a place where, like, no matter what you choose to do, you're behind yourself, you're behind your reasons, and you got your own back.
yeah. Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. All right. So I know you have your coaching hat on right now. So let's
hmm
talk about this. I know that, this past year has been kind of stressful for some people, and it might have caused some overwhelm for them and just in everyday life, even over all the many years, that we've been here. There are times that we do get overwhelmed. So what
hmm
do you do? What can someone do that's listening? Say they are feeling overwhelmed right now. What can they do when they're feeling that way to not feel that way anymore?
Yeah. Well, first things first is slow down. Like, usually things aren't as important as we make them. And we have these thoughts like, I have to get this done. I need to do this. I have all these things on my to do list. But I like to remind my clients that the only things that you really need to do are eat, sleep, and die. Everything else is negotiable.
What'd you say? Eat, sleep, and what?
And die.
Okay, that's
That's
what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Okay.
yeah, it's just like eventually that day will come. It needs to happen because that's the deal with being on this earth, being a human or a living organism is that you have to sustain yourself and then one day you will die. Like those are the only things that need to happen in life. Everything else is a desire, a want, just it doesn't have to happen at this moment. So just slowing down first and really understanding like, all right, what's important? What am I putting on my plate right now that maybe I can take off? And also listening to your body. Like sometimes like you're tired, like you really just want to lay down, put your feet up, take a nap. And a lot of people, I can't do that. I'll be behind. I won't get XYZ. If I stop, then I won't be able to start going again and all of that stuff. And it's like, no, if you stop, you'll be able to refuel so you can go again. Like you aren't on a runaway train. You're the conductor. You make the momentum, and if you slow down, you can also speed up.
Ah, I love that. And as you're talking about this, one of the words that stuck out to me because I've been feeling a little tired lately, I'm thinking I am a big proponent of power naps, like even 5 or 10 minutes of just total relaxation. And I call it a nap, but it's really just unplugging, like just allowing myself to
Mhm.
close my eyes. I love doing that. Do you have little tips like that or something that you do? What do you do personally when you get in that space?
Yeah, when I get overwhelmed, I usually like I do what I just told you, but I think for me, a big thing would be getting outside. I'd take my dog on a walk and just like maybe I'd listen to a podcast or listen to music, just something to that I enjoy that helps me kind of just and then um, I love being outside, being in the sun, being in nature, and that always kinds of grounds me and brings me back to center. And
Yeah.
also, huge proponent of naps. I take longer than 5 to 10 minutes, but like,
Yeah, the 5 to 10 minutes isn't really a nap, it's just a just relax, like thing. But, something you just said, so you said you really enjoy it, so that comes back to the pleasure thing, right? Like, which a lot of people don't allow themselves pleasure when they have all these goals and aspirations and dreams and that doing, they're in that mode of doing. So let's talk a little bit about pleasure. When I read your introduction, you talked about centering your pleasure. Like, so what is that? And what does that even mean? And how can we do that? Because it sounds great.
yeah. So to me, centering your pleasure is really putting yourself and your priorities and your needs first. And some people may think that's selfish, but I think it's necessary because if we're not living for ourselves, if we're trying to live for somebody else, if we're trying to meet other people's expectations, if we're trying to people please, then we're leaving a void in ourselves. And we are the people that know ourselves best. We are the people that understand ourselves best. And if we are busy working for other, not necessarily working, but like working for other people's pleasure or trying to get them to like us or trying to be perfect in their eyes or what their idea is, we're not meeting our own needs. And I thoroughly believe that everyone has a purpose on this earth. And when we don't listen to ourselves, we're not living into it. So basically, centering your own pleasure is an idea to really just remind yourself to connect back to center. And the benefits of it is like stops that people pleasing. You have an increased stress recovery because you're actually listening to yourself. You're actually doing what you enjoy, getting those dopamine hits, figuring that out. You have an increased resiliency and like that resilient mindset that helps you get through those hard times, get through the peaks and valleys, and come out stronger. And ultimately, I think it gives you freedom because again, you're not living for anybody else, trying to meet anybody else's expectations. You are going off your own, the expectations of self.
Yeah, that's great. I like that because, and that's really what it's about, I think, when we talk about purpose. Like, I also believe that we're all here for some purpose. I also think our purpose, I know personally mine has changed over the years, but it's still the same theme. It's like helping people, connecting with people, those kinds of things. It's still the basic thing that I feel like I'm here for. What do you feel like is your purpose on this planet?
Mm, that's a great question. I think my purpose here is macro level to help people, but in a more micro sense to really help people understand where the chains are on them, where they're holding themselves back, where society may be holding themselves back, and really helping them rediscover their own power so that they can break free and so that they can be who they were truly destined to be.
Yeah, wow, that's so powerful. I love that. That's so cool. And so just getting back to your title of this, it's finding calm in the chaos with strength, resilience, and pleasure. Like that's so important because I think that I agree with you. We need to be free, and because otherwise we cannot live up to our full potential and what into our purpose. So that's great. I love how
Yeah.
you're showing up in the world, Amber. Really, it's really awesome. I really appreciate you and all that you're doing. I
Well,
know
thank
that
you.
people that are listening to this are excited probably to reach out to you again, and I know you have a gift for them. Can you tell us about that and how they can reach out to you, contact you, find more about you?
Yeah. So if you want to keep up to date with me, you can follow me on Instagram at Amber Taylor Coaching. And to just reach me in general, you can contact me on my website at www.ambertaylorcoaching.com. And my special gift for you is if you go to my website and click the contact me section, there's a little spot for you to send me a little message. And if you reference this interview, I'll offer a free 30 minutes of my time as to just chat, see what's going on with you. If you have any questions about coaching, want to go through a coaching exercise, this is your opportunity to do it.
Awesome. Awesome. So that's ambertaylorcoaching.com. Perfect.
Yes.
Well, Amber, I'm so happy to have talked to you today. I'm so happy we met and that I love that you shared a wonderful story in the book, Women Living on Purpose, and that you did that and you're a part of this whole project because your energy is so cool and beautiful. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
So thanks for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me. I've loved every second of it.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. And listeners, thank you for being here. I know that you got a lot from Amber's talk today, and I know you're enjoying this whole summit because every author, every interview that we do has such great tips and tools and practices for you to use in your own life. And this book that we're launching on June 29th, Women Living on Purpose, is filled with 20 stories by women who just are very resilient, strong, and powerful women in their own lives. So you definitely want to read that. It will help you get on track with your own purpose because you'll see what some people have gone through. Some of it's pretty tough stuff, and some of it's beautiful. It's like everything that life is. And so you'll love reading the stories. You'll get some great stuff to use in your life. June 29th is the launch date. If you go to our website, womenonpurposebook.com, we'll guide you to Amazon to buy the book. And on launch day, we have a 99-cent Kindle, one day only, June 29th. You can get that book or you can buy the paper book that day. And then when you bring that, your receipt number and plug it into our website, you'll have access to a bunch of gifts from our partners and authors. So it's like a win-win-win all the way around. You get the great stories, you get the launch promo, which is wonderful stuff, gifts from our authors and partners that I think there's about 35 gifts, which you will love every single one of them. So do that and continue to listen to the summit. Read that free ebook that you got when you signed up for the summit. That is a bunch of other tips for living on purpose. So boy, you're going to find your purpose if you don't know what it is yet, and you're going to live more fully into it if you already know what it is. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being your lovely self and doing your own purpose in the world, because that's what the world needs, everyone to live on purpose. Thanks, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.